So you must be in dreamland. Of all the managers you could have got, you actually got a decent manager.
So I'm told. To be honest, mate, I couldn't tell you much about Rangnick. I think I'm barely pronouncing his name right at
To
this
be
point.
fair, yeah, I don't know anything about Ralf Rangnick. But
I'm told he's the father of the Gegenpress.
yeah, Klopp said a lot of good things about him. I've had a look through kind of what's been like what people have said since the announcement about an hour or two ago. There's a lot of hype around him, and he comes across like he actually has a system. I don't know if that's the point, because you haven't had a system, so the coach that comes in needs to be that.
Yeah.
But if he is the kind of counter-pressing master, and Klopp was talking about Hoffenheim and how good that team was and how it inspired him to then develop his own system of counter-press.
Yeah, didn't he take him from Bundesliga 3, or wherever the third Bundesliga is, to the Bundesliga in 3 seasons, I think it was.
I don't
back
know.
to back, I think.
So it's like some Salford City moneyballing.
Maybe.
Moneyballing's the wrong phrase, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. So
balling with money. Throwing money everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, what I kind of, from the research I've done on him, he seems as if he kind of does his best work upstairs rather than a managerial role. Like, obviously, that's just my 2 cents from what I've seen and read, but a lot of people have brought him as a director of football or in like a technical director role to kind of like sort out the infrastructure and behind the scenes, which is what we desperately need. So it's strange for United to kind of do the sensible thing, as in they've brought in a competent manager with a style and a system and footballing intelligence, and then someone who will also make sure the operations upstairs are going in the right direction, which they haven't been for nigh on, like 8-10 years. So
since whenever Fergie left.
Yeah, so a sensible appointment, which is so strange to kind of say.
I think that you couldn't get this wrong because the only real options available to you, there was only, because you have to assume Zidane wasn't interested. Poch, you have to assume they don't want him as an interim and doesn't want to come in halfway through a season. And I think PSG are holding out for Zidane. So Brendan wasn't the right fit. Whether he was interested or not, that wasn't the right fit. So personally, I don't feel like there's many people you could have got that would have been interested that are of a level that the fans would accept. It's almost like this was your only choice, and it just happened to be, at least on paper, we won't know until obviously. We won't know on the Chelsea game. I wonder if he will sit on the sides and watch the Chelsea game. Do you know, like a lot of new managers do when they've not seen a training session?
Yeah, he's waiting on his permit, isn't he?
Because you really, and this is just a psychological thing, your new manager doesn't want to start in a game that you are very likely, even at your best, still very likely to lose. We'll get onto the weekend in a moment, but just I think it looks like a good appointment of all the things that you could have got. Yeah, decent appointment.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm shocked. It's quite this logical, sensible thing to kind of do. So we'll see. I'm quite excited for it, but time will tell.
Ralph's just at
the stern. Yeah, I was going to do a terrible German accent, but I thought better of it.
I know. 9. So I think what we'll do is we'll quickly go through Champions League games as quickly as you can. I don't want to wax. I know I said before we were on air that I wanted to wax lyrical about City for 18 minutes, and I definitely could after that performance because of everything I said about the last PSG performance game and how we performed. But since you were the Tuesday kickoff, do you want to go with Carrick masterclass?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I wouldn't call the first half a masterclass. I thought the pace was, we were a bit slow again, struggling to kind of break them down. It certainly didn't look like we were going to win the game. I think Rio Scoles said it at halftime, like it looked like two teams both vying for a draw. The second half, I think once Bruno and Rashford came in, injected a bit of pace into the game, just grew in confidence and just, kind of controlled the game from, I don't know, probably around 60, 65 minutes, I think. And then, an error by their defence, which we haven't really seen. In games against United, which obviously you can't. Fred did well, to kind of hassle them. He had that kind of game where he did what he's best at. And then you give it to Ronaldo, he does the rest. So and then has really, really happy to see Jadon off the mark. He needs that. He needed that really badly.
Well, he needs the minutes. I don't know if he needs the goal, because I don't know if his confidence is like shot. When I've watched him play, he doesn't look devoid of confidence. He just looks devoid of sharpness and tactical. Like, implementation might not be the right word, but he just doesn't look like he is fully on the same wavelength as the others. Well, to be fair, I don't want to get into that because no one looks like they've been on the right wavelength with anyone else. But I don't think Sancho. Look, getting a goal is never going to be a bad thing, but I think Sancho just needs minutes. Just needs to be playing.
No, I agree. Like he's looked better and better every kind of game. Even the results or made necessarily any kind of no return on goal, shall we say, has happened until now. But
so you're not dancing on the streets, but you're happy with just getting a win.
No, like it's weird. It's weird being a United fan at the moment because that result was not shocking, but it's like unexpected. And that's
to keep the clean sheet as well, I think.
Yeah,
that's
I think
massive for how poor you're defensive and how porous it's been. That to me is massive.
I think some people were saying that performance proves that the players down tools, and I don't really believe in down tooling. But I'm not a professional footballer, maybe trying to influence people or games. You know what I mean? You don't know what kind of goes on behind the scenes.
I think when you think
notion
of the
to me is just
idea
mad.
The idea of everyone kind of coordinating a response like that seems
improbable. Right?
Yeah, it seems a little bit too Machiavellian as well. Like, we're gonna perform a coup and we're gonna overthrow it. It's like, I believe that maybe those Chelsea players, when they got was it Mourinho sat the second time when they apparently went to Abramovich. I believe that because there was so much player power in that dressing room because those players had won so much and been there so long and had really good relationships with Abramovich. I believe that.
And that was Mourinho as well, considering.
Yeah.
We all know his personality.
Yeah, absolutely. So it probably got to a point where it was like these players felt they had to do something because it wasn't being changed otherwise. But the idea that these guys were down tools on Ollie, a person that I don't think those players would ever have down tools on Ollie, no matter how long he stayed there. If he stayed there all season, I don't think they would, because I don't think they have that relationship with him.
No.
And even for a boss you like, especially when you've got pride in what you're doing, it's not like they're working in a fucking supermarket where they don't have respect for the manager, and so it doesn't matter if they do a shit job because who's going to, they're being watched by millions. Their value is constantly fluctuating depending on what they're doing.
Yeah.
You if you're a professional footballer at that level of the game, I agree with you. I don't see it as really like individual players. Maybe, do you know, where they're pissed off or whatever. Odom Wingy comes to mind.
Yeah.
But I don't see it at the highest level. Again, maybe I saw it with Pogba, and I think he's got a style that I think
I was going to say
that as well.
I was going to say that's the only player in the squad I think who actively would.
Yeah, and he probably has during his time at the club. He definitely did.
Yeah, some of his performances have definitely looked like he's doing that. You just think, is this a joke? And because you watch him play for France 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
It's just like, wait a minute.
But very different system, and very the coaching there is obviously at a higher level. But yeah, I think for you it was just important to get through that game, get a win. And did you know that Carrick has qualified for more Champions League knockout stages than Ollie? Did you know that?
I mean, yeah.
One game. And that's all we'll get. That's all we'll
Yeah,
get.
you get one game. Yeah.
Qualified, yeah. Good effort.
Yeah, I've sseen a few of those Rio Ferdinand signed a ting videos going around after that. But
that's the danger though with United, isn't it? This is the danger where you get an interim coach that actually does all right, and then you're like, oh, let's give it him, and then you just got Ollie 2.0 again because you've got to be cutthroat. It does not matter if this manager does well. If you can get a better manager in summer, you go and get that better manager. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, like I said, it's interesting with Rangnick because would it be the worst thing in the world? If we finish top 4, skin of our teeth, whatever. Would it be such a bad thing?
Mate, this is like when Gary Neville picks Paul Pogba as his player to watch for the season. Like 4 years in a row. This is exactly that. You're getting sucked into the same old thing.
I know. It's only because of my ignorance towards him, because I just don't know much about him. But
I don't think it matters who you got in now, unless it was Poch. Because there are coaches out there who fit United. But nowadays, we talked about this in podcast before where I was talking about how Pep has had a club built for him. So the groundwork has been done over 10 years, or well, a bit less than that, about 7 years, to create a club where Soriano's there, Cheeky's there, the right players are there, the entire youth coaching and everything is there ready for him, just ready to go. He was the final piece to come in. At Liverpool, you've got Klopp, who is perfect for that club. Perfect style. I don't think Liverpool could play I don't think Liverpool could play like peak Arsenal Invincibles. I don't think they could play like peak City. I don't think they could play like peak United. I think they've got to, the way they play gets the most out of Anfield when it decides to show up after the first 5 minutes after they sang you Never Walk Alone a couple of times. But because that stadium is not as I can't talk because ours is a library, but Anfield is not what everyone thinks it is. I'm not firing shots at Arsenal today, so I'm going to throw some at Liverpool's away. But Tuchel, it's, as I said last time, it's different at Chelsea because Tuchel fits the mold of what Abramovich wants, which is adaptable managers that can come in and win very quickly because there are quality players there that just need a bit of coaching and the system implementing. So you need to get a coach that is more than just a good coach. You need one where the philosophy, it's holistic in its approach. Everyone buys into it. The youth teams buy into it. They're playing the same way. The women's team you've got, they're in the same philosophy. Maybe they can't play the same way. And I'm sorry, any ladies that are listening, there are none, but any ladies that might in the future listen, when this is like 5 years down the line, we're really famous and someone goes back and listens to this to cancel us. I'm sorry, you're not as good as male footballers. The best women's footballers are not as good as the best men's footballers. I'm sure there are some women footballers, professional footballers out there that are better than some male professional footballers. However, there is no female equivalent of Ronaldo or Messi. There is not. There's no female equivalent of Kevin De Bruyne. There's no. In fact, I don't even think there's a female equivalent of Pogba. So do with that what you will. Pogba at United as well. Do with that what you will. There are some. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not someone who just trashes on women's football. I really enjoy women's football actually. When I watch good teams, and I'm very fortunate that City are one. Chelsea are a little bit better at the moment. You're really late to it. You only got your women's team like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. You were well late to the party.
I know.
Quite embarrassing, really, for your club.
I know.
And I don't mean that as a pot shot. I just mean
no, it is.
Even if you don't want to actually invest in it, about 5 years ago, it became a PR move that all clubs kind of had to do, and by that point, you wanted to already be in it. Because you didn't want to be doing it for a PR reason. You wanted to have already had the club in place. Or the
Mate,
team, so.
They're not. The girls aren't even having not even playing at Old Trafford until next season.
Where are they?
Forgive me because I can't remember the name. But yeah, they'll be playing at Old Trafford from next season.
Man United's team is irrelevant. It's literally just Chelsea, City, and I think West Ham's women's team does all right now and then.
Arsenal aren't too bad either.
Arsenal aren't too bad, I agree, but their team has been a little bit ravaged. Saying that, our team got ravaged by Barca like 3 years ago.
Yeah, didn't they sign Duggan? I think.
Fucking mate. Second favourite female player of all time.
Who's your first? Oh, wait.
Solo.
Oh, Solo.
Solo. I love that woman. I love that
She
woman
shot
so
first.
much. Rachel Brown's up there as well because she's from Burnley and she went to the same college as me.
Fair enough.
And my mate's dad knows her family.
Oh.
Not that I've ever met her, but she was on she was like on the wall of the college. Like,
Wow.
look what you could become. Like, the game's over for that. I had to get that right in the fucking womb. I can't be a female professional footballer. Although, I do think at that point, like, I don't know. Now, it's I don't want to say it because to say it, if I said, oh, I could play for a League Two team, right? No one would call me like bigoted or like against any group of people. But if I said, oh yeah, I could go play with them women, oh my god, pitchforks are out.
It'd be alright if you transitioned.
I'd be sick. I'd be absolutely sick. Honestly, I'd be so much faster than the vast majority of them. Genuinely. Like, endurance-wise, women and men can taper off after a certain point, which is why these ultra marathon, I won't get into it too much, but it's why that can happen. It's why over really long distances it can level off because endurance is fine. But raw power, women just don't have the testosterone required for that to happen. That's not sexist, ladies. It's just science. And if science is sexist, then we should all become more sexist because science is always correct. Anyway, women's football. Women's football, love it. Just let's know the level that it's at. Same with under 21s, under 23s. I love some under 23s. I remember watching the under 23s Euros like 2014 or something. And just watching Spain. I don't remember any of them players, but I bet like they're all like Barca players now or Pedri and stuff like that. Or whoever, maybe not Pedri, but like a little bit older.
No, I'm pretty sure he's 9.
Yeah, that kid, European golden boy though. So
yeah. He'll be some player.
So we'll speaking of transitioning, we'll transition onto the City game versus PSG part 2, because we were fantastic once again, and I thought once again to a man, everyone was brilliant. Everyone was so good, apart from maybe, oh my god, Zinchenko.
I was like, oh, Kev's back. Wait a minute.
No, because it was weird because I saw that at the start and I thought, okay, formation, this will be interesting. What are we doing? What are we doing? Because are we playing 3-4-3, where Zinchenko goes on the left, Walker's on the far right, Cancelo's part of the back three, Zinchenko's the left wing, and then no, Zinchenko kind of played. He and Bernardo switched as this false 9, and then Pep hauled him off, did a bit of a system change, put Jesus on, and we fixed the one issue we had, which was just being able to put the ball in the back of the net. We created so many chances time and time again in the exact same areas, and they were really fortunate to hold on. There was 2 or 3 great saves. Mahrez was phenomenal in the first half, I thought.
He had so much time though, mate. Like he was constantly on.
I thought I was watching Dani Alves. That literally, remember you'd watch Barca and they'd be playing it around the middle, Busquets, so you're passing Xavi and Iniesta, they'd just rotate, and then suddenly someone switches to Dani Alves and you're like, oh my god, why have you got all the space in the world? Yeah, he had a lot of space. I thought Bernardo doubled up really well with him. I thought Walker had a brilliant game. It's getting boring talking about Cancelo, just how good he is. He tried a couple more of the outside foot, didn't he? He tried one, and honestly, Jesus or still Raheem or I think it was Raheem actually, yeah, because the ball for Jesus was from Gundogan when he had a left-footed shot and it was offside. Yeah, I think it was Cancelo to Sterling, just but along the ground this time, and then yeah, there's nothing came of it.
Yeah, I was going to text you at half time and just say I think you need Zinchenko and Sterling off because I didn't think much of Sterling first half, and it was you were much because you were good. You don't get me wrong, you were good in first half, but I thought the second half I was like fucking hell, you're making them just look like it was just like the Everton United game, just just stifled them. I could just see like as soon as they had because I was almost actually saying as well, you need to get at their centre backs more. Because to be fair to PSG, they did well to play in the box first half and retain possession. Kind of beat your press a few times. Even as risky as it looked, God, it looked risky. Yeah. Jesus.
And Navas had a couple of bad touches, but they got away with it and played out then.
Yeah, the second half, you got a lot more. I think you nearly, I said as well, I don't know how you weren't ahead at halftime. I have no idea.
The Gundogan one for me is the one.
Post.
Yeah, because everyone was all at sea. And so what he tries to do is make sure, curling it the furthest way it could be from where the keeper's got to and where there's only one body. And he got around that body, but he just couldn't get it in the net. For me, if you hit that low, there was a lot of space where a lot of scrambling bodies were trying to get back into the position. I know that so far in the game at that point, people have just been blocking things left, right, and centre. But yeah, I mean, I don't blame him because if that had gone in, that would have been delightful. But he tried to be like, right, I'm being as precise as possible, and it's going that far side, just clipping the post and in, and obviously pinged flying back off the post. But he was really good, actually, Gundogan, after a few games where I feel like he's been functional but not good. And he was someone I was really worried about because I always worry about his. He's not press resistant, and he's not the one that like instigates the press. But Bernardo is so good that everyone else is raising their level, I think, around him. I don't think Kev walks back into this team weirdly because Bernardo plays that right central midfield. Bernardo plays right central midfield. I mean, because Bernardo to me at the moment is undroppable, and there's not many players in our squad that are. I think Rodri has got himself to that point as well. I do think the two fullbacks are, but there is a bit of a drop off to the next fullbacks. That's probably more why. Although, don't get me wrong, Cancelo is phenomenal, but as much as I love Walker, I feel like if you had another class centre back, left back in there, then there'd be a bit more rotation where Cancelo then goes, well, I'm going to go play right back this game, and depend on what the opposition is. At the moment, it's just Walker, Cancelo every game, which I quite like because I want it to be settled. I thought Diaz came in and had a really good game. Stones, once again, probably the weakest defender. But
yeah, he did
probably really highlighted because he tried knee-ups in the middle of the pitch when all three were around him.
I was like, I needed to say no. He's like Curlon, if you remember Curlon. He used to do a seal dribble.
No.
You don't know. We'll YouTube him later, but
okay.
Yeah, I was just like, why are you doing this in the middle of the pitch? And I just saw like Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe. Like decided and thought,
like literally, it couldn't be worse. It couldn't be worse.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about those three? Because
only briefly, and to say that it is embarrassing for a front three to think that they can play against not only one of the best teams in Europe, but one of the hardest running sides. Like, and the thing is, like Liverpool do the exact same, and there were so many times when I'd look up and I thought, Poch needs to take Neymar off, but you can't take any of the three off. He's in a position where he can't take him off. He had to then change the formation so that Di Maria was operating almost like a inside right mid, who was just being snuffed out constantly by Rodri or Cancelo. Like, it was weird. It was weird to watch.
Yeah. I do love watching Di Maria struggle on the pitch. I will say that.
I actually think he had a lot of good touches. Messi had a lot of good touches, but ultimately, they do not run. They don't make the effort. They don't track back. So, okay, you've got 7 defenders who did really, really well. But there were times when we were just toying with them in the second half. Like, do you want this ball? We'll just pass it a little bit short to the man. And then we beat you. Like, we just beat you. Your press is shit. And honestly, for how good they are at the back, being press resistant, the front three don't set the right press. And they're only scary because you know what they can do once they get the ball. They're not scary in terms of, oh, they might chase you all the way up the pitch. Nah. Even Mbappe, who actually was the only one who dropped in a little bit to chase Silva, he really wants to have a battle with Kyle. Because every time I watch PSG, every time we've had the 4 PSG games that I've watched, he's like looking at Kyle, like he keeps attacking him, and I'm just thinking, wouldn't the wise thing for Mbappe to do to be go play on the right side? Like, why is he playing against Walker?
Literally scored his goal from the right side. It's like, use your head.
And the way that he shaped up for that goal, like, yes, Mbappe can do that, and you've seen him do it. But if he even managed to get it low, I think Edison saves it. And if he takes a second longer, Walker's there.
Yeah. I felt sorry for Poch in that regard, because I was like, those 3 give you a massive headache. Because like you said, you can't drop them. You can't sub them. Because you were talking about the drop with your fullbacks, but the drop of quality from them to whoever's on the bench is...
Drop Neymar for Di Maria. That's not the bigger drop you think it is. Because Di Maria works so much harder.
Player, isn't it? Oh, I don't know.
I don't think he is now.
No.
I don't think he is now. Neymar is your most petulant player.
No, I said that. No, as in Neymar.
Yeah.
But I just meant the drop. I still think that drop's massive.
I don't think it is. I think the work rate makes up for it.
Who was I listening to? Could have been Jason Cundy. And I think he said, he'd... what was he saying about Neymar? Just basically like along the lines of like, haul him off. Like, that performance was disgusting. Yeah.
So are you saying to me
it was terrible?
You wouldn't drop one of those front 3 for Bernardo Silva?
Actually, they put that to discussion. It was like, which 3 would you rather have in a Pep system? Weird tangents on TalkSport.
That's weird.
I know, but obviously, under Pep, and he was like, Manchester City, I'd rather have the Sterling.
You'd only take one of them.
Sterling, the Mahrez, and Bernardo. He said, I think Mbappe would maybe work in Liverpool. He said, I don't think the others would work.
Right, they're absolutely
elsewhere.
Mad. They're absolutely mad. Absolutely mad.
Do you not think he's lost a bit of his like spark though? A bit of his drive?
Because there's 2 other cunts not running. You can only have one cunt not running, right? Look at what you're doing. Bruno last year was the one that got to do whatever he wanted. Now it's Ronaldo. And under Ollie, Greenwood wasn't running. Sancho wasn't playing. Rashford wasn't running into the good areas. He was just running down the wing and getting tackled constantly from when I watched him play. Martial doesn't offer you that option. Cavani does, right? So one other.
Yeah.
At City, everyone offers you that option. Every single player offers you that option. At Liverpool, every single player offers you that option.
So you say you'd give Messi that kind of privilege to do nothing? To just be passable rather than come and get the ball?
Absolutely. I would say that if Pep was coaching Messi, Pep would say, right, I'm not saying you don't run at all. Because if the man's right in front of you, you need to be near him. Because I was watching some Barcelona games earlier today, just trying to look at old Messi. Because Messi's never run around the pitch. Ever. Even 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago. Even then. The difference was he actually closed the man. Do you know there's a man 2 meters? Roy Keane, he's got Roy Keane in the back of his head thinking, I better close that man. Right? When now, all 3 of them just stand there and they're like, oh, has Rodri got it now? Diaz hasn't got it anymore. No, I guess we're bypassed. And then Mbappe drops back a little bit to try to wait for Bernardo. But then Walker joins and Mbappe just has like a little fit. Like, fucking hell, Walker's here. Fuck. Having nightmares. Did you see him? Walker literally went, yeah, I'll step at the side of you, mate. Do you want to run at me? And Mbappe realised really late, like, oh, I could run at him here, and took a heavy touch, and Walker just went, cheers. Honestly, it was so... Watching a world-class player like Mbappe just get mugged off by Walker every time we play as well. The only person who actually got inside Walker was their left back, whose name I can't remember.
Nuno Mendes.
Nuno Mendes, yeah. And I don't think just Walker was absolutely shocked that kid actually had a go at him.
Yeah, I quite like the look of him. Seems like a diamond in the rough kind of player.
Maybe. But
I
in
thought,
that team,
yeah.
no one. I don't think anyone in that team is going to be good long term. It's just there seems to be so much failure there.
I quite like Marquinhos. I think he's a good player.
I love mate. I love Marquinhos. I love Kimpembe. I do really like Keylor Navas. I think that Verratti, as a footballer in real life, is amazing. Hate him on FIFA. I think he's too small for FIFA. But in real life, he's wonderful. I like Herrera. I like all of the front three.
Was Verratti last night? I saw him on the bench, but
apparently
is he just injured, coming back from injury?
Because they brought Danilo on instead, didn't they?
When is he not carrying
CDM? I know. So, I mean, I have a lot of time for a lot of their players, but the problem when they brought Messi in, I was like, all right, you need to find a way to get all them three playing and running. And you don't need to run as much in the French league. You can just chill up top. But when you come to play City, and if they get a good team, if they get Liverpool, or they get bloody hell,
Bayern,
maybe
Ajax?
Bayern aren't the same opposition, and Ajax aren't the same. Ajax will pass you to death, but Ajax don't have those explosive players that will just like Ajax.
Chelsea
struggle. Yeah, Chelsea will. Chelsea would wipe the floor with PSG right now. Because PSG won't be able to get in behind that 7.
Yeah, Rudiger would eat them up, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
At the moment,
the only person that could would be like if all three played to their best and ran a bit more, like because their touches are wonderful. Messi just he just megged Sterling for the sake of it yesterday. Like, but what does it matter if there's no end product because you don't actually run and you work as a cohesive unit? So I don't want to go on too much about PSG being just embarrassing for how good they should be and how good the players are and how wonderful they look in moments. They've spent too much money to be a moments team. So no, I'm not happy with PSG. I am yesterday, but overall I just think it's kind of embarrassing to be a club like that. When you've spent that much money, you've got the coach you've got. Look at what them Spurs players did for him. Far less players did far more. So thumbs down for those guys. But let's bring it back to City because, yeah, I think, obviously I mentioned it last episode, but we are at a point now with City where 1 or 2 players can just come in, slot seamlessly into the system. The performance doesn't change. And you've got... So I watched a podcast, this morning, that discussed how like Bernardo Silva will never win a Ballon d'Or, but how is he not in the conversation with? How would you be able to keep him out of the conversation if he kept at this form for a year? Because obviously he hasn't had a year of it. And a player like this would never win a Ballon d'Or, even if he got 15 goals, 15 assists, playing this really deep role. And wins everything. He wouldn't. I don't think he would even get a nomination. Whereas Foden, with those same stats, would. So it's difficult. But I'm looking at Bernardo right now, and I'm thinking he's playing at the same level as like Salah is. It's just harder to see because it's like the Jorginho case. Interceptions are not as respected. Control of a game, dictating the pace, is not as respected as scoring a goal.
Yeah, I think there have been defenders over the past kind of decade or so that have said it's just not like almost kind of a sexy win. It's like attackers will always be rewarded for their output.
They should really make the Ballon d'Or for attackers, and then have another one for like. I know they won't because it would make the award seem less prestigious. But when was the last centre back? I know Van Dijk got nominated, but you almost couldn't not do it after the 2 years they had. You shouldn't have to have 2 years like that. You shouldn't have to have 2 years like that. Where you're building up your credentials. You should be able to have an amazing season where your team wins and everything you do is great. Like, because if Bernardo carries us up all season, I'm putting him in the conversation. I wouldn't be upset then if Salah won because I get it. But if the only reason that Salah wins is because he scores great goals, well, yes, that's incredible and that's amazing and that's important, and we should obviously respect that metric. But chasing people down, controlling tempo, the fact that we win the ball like after 4 seconds whenever we lose it, like, that's scary, because after that happens 3 or 4 times, you just see teams go, fuck. Fuck. You just saw it with Everton. Everton just, oh no.
Yeah.
Rodri's mopping up everything. And their hearts went out of the game. And Bernardo does that to you because he's just there at you constantly. And with great quality. Look at the Liverpool game where he just mazily took on, I think, 4 of their players, including Van Dijk. Yeah, I think he's absolutely wonderful. And
just to point out, mate, that Fabio Cannavaro was the last recipient of the Ballon d'Or.
That's crazy. When's that? 97?
2006.
2006. I'm way out with that one. Clip that. For some reason, I just thought it was the 90s when the last centre back. So then I wasn't even thinking about the player, because I actually did watch that Milan side on Eurosport back in the day.
Well, he won it at Real Madrid.
Oh, really?
Yeah. 2006.
I mean, oh yeah. Wait, they win anything then? They might have won a league or two, because it was just yeah. So that's just before or around the time Rijkaard is Barca manager, and Barca are kind of in crisis mode, aren't they? And then Pep comes in and gets rid of Dino and Deco and everyone and fixes it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would have been Madrid's period. It was just the European stage that they struggled on. Although I want to say that like Sevilla or someone or Villarreal won the title around that time as well.
Possibly. It's a long time ago, man.
Sure they did. Anyway, so I think we're absolutely incredible, and going into this weekend's game against West Ham, I think we're going to do the exact same thing to West Ham. I don't want to start getting too cocky and confident, because that's just not a nice place to be. But I think West Ham are going to go through a little trying spell. This period where they've got a lot of games. They played in the Europa League tonight. They won. Did all right. But we're at home, and I hope we don't rotate too much, because there are some midweek Prem games next week. We've got Villa away. You play on Thursday. Fuck's sake. You've got Arsenal.
Yep.
But yeah, I think we're gonna smash West Ham. So I'm gonna say 3-0. How confident are you for your weekend game against Chelsea?
You know what? I'm not as down in the dumps about a Chelsea one.
Oh my God! Look at one win. What one win has done for you?
No, just because it's weird, because with Chelsea, they are similar to me in a way, because you think, oh, they do have a system and are really hard to get in behind, and I think their defense more than anyone is shining at the moment. You know what I mean? I think their best players right now are their defenders.
I think Reece James is their top scorer, and Ben Chilwell's got a few goals as well. To be fair, Rudiger's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Which is
at the back.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Yeah. So yeah, I think they've got a really good system with really good players in defense.
But at the same time, you know what Liverpool did to us? Absolute annihilation by the hands of God. And you obviously, well, we all know what City do at the moment. With Chelsea, like I said, the defense will be really hard to break down, but I don't fear their attacking kind of prowess like I would against you guys
That's
and
fair.
Liverpool. So in that respect, I'm not as much worried. I'm not expecting to go into that game and win, but I'm expecting a bit more of a performance.
Do you think Lukaku will be back?
I'm not sure. I haven't really
He's
paid
rumored
much
to
attention
be
to him.
back in training, I think.
He'll be up for that game if he starts. He'll be really up for that game.
There's just a lot of talk about, and look, I rate Lukaku, so I'm not obviously saying this to disparage against the guy, but they've looked better with the team that they had last year attacking. Like the way that they were attacking Arsenal was scary. And Arsenal? Who do I mean? Liverpool played Arsenal the week. Leicester, sorry.
Leicester.
The way they were attacking Leicester and Pulisic getting in and Ziyech getting in and Werner getting in, it was like, oh my God. This is going to be 5, 6, 7. And that could happen. Could happen
because remember, Maguire's out, so it's likely to see Bailly come into the side.
Oh, but that's good. You want Maguire out. I'd honestly, the first thing that Ralf Rangnick needs to do when he comes to the club is strip Maguire of the captaincy and remove him from the first 11. Even if it's for his own good. I mean, I would say it's for the team's good because I think he's been dreadful this season. I think you can't look to that man as your leader.
No, I agree with that statement. I would be shocked if he was dropped. I was surprised he kind of started against Villarreal, but obviously he can't play domestically, so it kind of makes sense in a way.
Why has he murdered someone, or is he just banned?
What do you mean?
He can't play domestically, like.
Oh, because he got sent
red
off.
Card. Oh,
he got sent off against Watford.
Oh yeah, so he did.
That's why he can't play.
Honestly, it's embarrassing. And you're like, oh, I trust you. Yeah, go play this really important Champions League game that we need to win. My first game as manager. But anyway, against Chelsea, it's a very different proposition. I think that you'll be better than you would have been if Ollie had stayed, but that it might be a slightly painful game for you.
Don't know. Like I said to my dad before the Villarreal game, I said I'm strangely optimistic. I watched first half and that kind of drained. But yeah, we'll see. I'm not expecting a win, but I'm expecting a kind of more of a resolute performance again, like we saw.
I think that's enough, though, isn't it? That's genuinely enough. You're at a stage now where when Arsenal needed to turn the corner against Burnley and Norwich, do you remember? Yeah. When they needed to turn the corner because otherwise Mikel's out and the team's fucked and game's over. Well, all you wanted to see, I didn't think they needed a win. You needed to see that the ideas were being implemented and that players were taken on board and that there was improvement there, right? To me, that's all you ever need to see from a coach in the short term. So for United, all you need to see is that you're not leaking goals, that the team can actually find each other and create chances and run for each other. As long as you see those three things, I think fine. And then as we start getting into December and through this period of time, there's almost going to be no time to actually train and implement ideas anyway. You're literally going to have a game every 3-4 days, aren't you? So that's where you can either build momentum or get fucked. And honestly, I hope you don't get fucked. I hope you get some momentum because you're not a threat to us. So I want you to do well.
You'd appreciate Wait, sure, you'd appreciate if we took 3 points against Chelsea. You go level, wouldn't you? If you win.
Obviously, if we win. I would say that I think that a United win is somewhere around like 10% likelihood. I'd put a draw a bit higher, like 30% maybe, but it's an overwhelming 60% Chelsea win. Like, it's overwhelming. They've got so much firepower from everywhere, and you've got Ronaldo.
Thank you, up the stands. But yeah,
I can break it down for you if you want, but we're on a tight schedule.
No,
so...
all right. I'll just wait until Sunday evening.
It's win-win for me, mate. Because if you win, then I'll just be like, nice one, appreciate it. I just didn't want to jinx it. So win-win for me. If on Sunday or Monday when we do the pod that you've beat Chelsea and turned them over like 4-1 or something, I'll be dancing in the streets. But it won't be the expected result. So in terms of what I expect, 2-0.
Okay.
Chelsea. Of course. Just to,
Oh, what?
just so that when we do the pod on Monday, I don't go, and you win 2-0, I don't go see. Hey, told you 2-0. So no,
Yeah,
2-0 Chelsea.
I'm just gonna remain coy and be like, oh well, we'll just see how it goes. No, I'm joking.
Really? Oh my god. -3
I'd like
points.
to see. If I was a betting man, because you know I love a long shot.
You are a betting man, but do continue.
It's tough. It's tough. Because my head's so Chelsea. It's like it's so hard to go against my heart. God damn it.
Your heart can't take it.
I'll be reasonable. I'll say 3-1 United.
Fair. Appreciate your reasonable approach to that. A couple other games I want to go through. Not
Sure.
go through, but just get your scoreline prediction. I don't care about dissecting the games. After the pod, I'll hit you. So we've got on Saturday a lot of nothing. Arsenal Newcastle.
Right. Arsenal. 3.5.
I mean, look, we'll get your scoreline predictions separately, mate. Send them to me separately. We'll just do winners today because
Okay. Well, Arsenal, yeah.
So Arsenal over Newcastle. I agree. I think that Newcastle are going down. Newcastle are fucked. That's the new team I have an agenda on because it's hilarious. Like they could literally buy all the squads from the Championship next year, buy them up, but they're going down. And I don't wish it of the Newcastle fans. I don't wish that at all because I actually don't have any issues with Newcastle. But to get a billionaire, like to get the richest owner in the world, and then to get relegated is just too funny to not happen. So it doesn't matter what club it was, unless it was City, in which case I obviously wouldn't be smiling. But it's just funny. Palace Villa. It's a difficult one, I think.
Ooh, yeah, it's tough one to go with a draw.
Mate, I think the Gerrard new manager bounce continues. Villa on that one.
Okay, fair enough.
Liverpool Southampton, obviously.
Liverpool.
9-0. Norwich 9-0. Yeah, maybe. It's so ridiculous. Norwich Wolves.
Wolves.
Yes, because surely Dean Smith cannot pull it out of the bag a second time because that team is so poor. That team is so poor. So yeah, I agree. Wolves, small goal margin, like a 1-0 again or something like that. Brighton versus Leeds.
Ooh.
I think it's Brighton. I just think Leeds have been so ravaged by injury that they're just going to struggle until they get them players back. I don't think there's much else they can do.
Yeah, I mean, they missed Rafinha against Spurs.
Yeah, they've got 7
they did well with that,
players out. They've got 7 players out that would play in and around that starting 11. Is it Rafinha, Rodrigo, Bamford? I know Phillips has just come back. There was another midfielder though. Forshaw, did he play? Can't remember.
He played, yeah.
They're my 3. There's 4 others apparently. I think Ty Roberts has just come back as well.
Luke Ayling's there.
Luke Ayling, yeah. Broke himself after that bonanza against you. But yeah, I've got to go Brighton there. What did you say?
I was tempted by a draw. It kind of hinges on Rafinha because I think he really does make him tick. Brighton at home, aren't they? Yeah, I'll go Brighton.
Okay.
Just.
Fair. Dundee Motherwell. I'm only joking. We don't give a fuck about the Scottish League. Brentford versus Everton. This is Sunday now, 2:00 kickoff. Brentford Everton. You know who I'm going for. Ivan fucking Toney. I'm going I'm going Brentford to win that game. Like, I don't know, something crazy like 3-2, 4-3, just outscoring Everton. Because Everton will be able to get at Brentford. But
is Calvert-Lewin back anytime soon?
I'm not sure. I'll check before we do the score predictions. Don't you worry.
Yeah. To be fair, they need much more than that.
Yeah, they do. They need to sell Richarlison to Barca for 40 mil.
Yeah.
You say
Brentford,
who you say? Brentford?
No,
Yes, get on the Brentford train. Choo choo. Next stop, survival. Burnley vs Spurs. This is this right. So the way that they lost that game tonight, Burnley will just do that to them. Burnley will be horrible to play against because it's getting to that time of the year where Dyche is looking at the table, going, "It's getting a bit dicey now. Need to sharpen up at the back there and just 10 it back, lads, 10 it back." That's what they do. So.
I won't go with a crazy Burnley result, but I'll say a draw.
I'll say 0-0. Yeah, I'll happily say 0-0 draw on that one. Leicester Watford.
Leicester.
I think Leicester, but wouldn't it just be peak Ranieri to do something? That's what happens in the Prem, man.
Yeah.
People either go back and embarrass themselves, or they go back and it's amazing. And
True.
Watford had a really good result against someone. Who did they played someone at the weekend? Did really well. And I just think Leicester don't seem to know what they're doing, mate.
I know, but you consider it was Chelsea they were playing, to be fair to them. And I think Brendan would have learned that system could not cope. They were too easy to get in behind, especially in the midfield. Every pass literally bypassed Samari and Didi.
Brendan should not need to see a whole 90 minutes of the game to realise that 2 men in midfield against Chelsea's 7 is a bad idea. He shouldn't need to watch a full game. I know that. Everyone should know that. Brendan Rodgers is a better coach than that to need to watch it first.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like, I think he'll get it right against Watford.
Oh God! Everyone told me that 99 shade, that whatever shades of grey. What's it called? 50 Shades of Grey. just pretend that it's
grey.
Yeah, I was like,
oh, black ain't one.
It's not one. 50 Shades of Grey. I don't need to read it, nor do I need to watch the film to know that it's absolute trash. I don't need to. I know that for like, as much as an opinion can be a fact, this is as close to a fact as an opinion gets. It's right there. So I
don't know.
Yeah,
like I think Leicester turned up for that.
I hope they do. I want them to do well. I don't care for Watford. City West Ham. Chelsea United. I didn't. You waited too long, and I know that we both saying City unless you're going to try and troll me. So Chelsea United.
I do think City. It's only because West Ham will go out and beat Liverpool one week and then lose to Wolves the other. That's strange to me. So maybe they're going to hit, like you said, a period of inconsistency. It's going to get harder.
I think,
and they've just played midweek.
Then I think if they've got Antonio in good form, they can cause a bit of issues for our defense. But I just think we've got so much confidence right now, and when we get confidence, and when we play like this. Although I actually think this is approaching the best I've seen us play with not the best squad we've had. Like, we haven't got some of the individual. Look, the players are amazing, but when you think about players that like get at you, Sané, Aguero, Yaya, these players that are just all over, like quality constantly. It's a bit more subdued. I still think I think they're all quality. I love the vast majority of the team, which hasn't always been the case. Usually we've got a couple of outliers. But I don't think West Ham are a bogey team for us, not really. And I know they beat us in the cup, but anyone can do that in a cup. And I just think that those issues that we had then, I think they're ironed out. And whilst 0-0 is entirely possible with the way we play. Like, you just don't break them down. Okay, you don't break them down. But realistically, yeah, I think we'll be absolutely fine against West Ham. Teams that I worry about are usually Leicester. Teams like Leicester, like, just bang us 4-0 or something out of nowhere, and you're like, what the fuck have I just seen? West Ham are not that. And we both think Chelsea, right?
No.
No. So you think Chelsea and I think draw. Okay.
Not quite.
I wish you
Not
the
to
best,
end.
mate. I hope it goes well for
Thanks. It will.
you. All right. Well, we've been chatting far too long. This has been a City United podcast, and we will see you again probably Monday, right? Monday makes more sense.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Awesome. See you on the flip side, motherfucker.